Didn't even add myself to the stream, just the background. Sort of low rent operation this is today. Just me still. Apologies. Drew's back. I think he might even be flying right now. I'm being told I didn't get my picture of Mahomes right. Pretty sure I did. That's how he's looking right now. It hasn't been bad. I don't know, just quick stats, quick stat updates. Woot woot. Yeah, if you had Falcons first half money line, really playing with fire. Took you a little bit there. The Cousins thing was, what are you can do? Arm got hit. You had some injuries. You're missing your tackle. You're missing your center. Wasn't 100% his fault, although, boy, I was joking about that in the Discord. I said it was like a Final Destination thing where like the universe wanted them to turn the ball over. They had the bad fumble that got kicked out, the bad snap that bounced in. It was like it was due to happen. I should have bet that live, I guess, but such is life. I don't have a lot going on in here. I tailed someone on some props on London. I need more London yards. I need Noah Gray. Not as much on that, but Noah Gray was 14.5. He got 13 on that one catch, so guessing that'll be his only target. Although he did get an end zone target earlier, so just need 2 more yards out of him. It looks like London. I need him about double what he did there, maybe a little more. Cousins may be in for a long half. Not only do they like to run some pistol, some shotgun, and apparently the center is not as good as the starting center. I guess that's how it works. And the fact that you're missing, what was Dahlman's right tackle, right? Or excuse me, Caleb McGarry is your right tackle. So you're missing your right tackle. You're missing Drew Dahlman, your center. Yeah, it's not great. These sort of things do happen. You do get injuries. We've seen that in a bunch of games today. I mean, how many linemen did we lose for Philly? Kind of the same sort of deal. They did win the game. Box score: Cousins 8 for 11, 128, the touchdown and the pick. Mahomes has not been sacked, although if you were betting against him, I would have made a strong argument for in the grasp when he got spun around and threw it 40 yards to a guy 15 yards away from him. I would have probably called that a sack, because nowadays you can't slam guys down, so people aren't slamming guys down as quickly. I think they should have given to him. Mahomes 27 attempts. I mean, I think his pregame line was close to 40 anyway. 1 touchdown, 1 bad interception. Like I said, no sacks. They haven't fumbled yet. We got the 2 Kirk Cousins fumbles, technically. Bijan, the kick. I was talking about that too. I feel like the kick should be more penal. That's a big deal. You can completely avoid a turnover by cheating. It feels like kicking the ball out of bounds should be like a lot bigger of a penalty. Maybe I'm wrong. Second half line, Chiefs -2.5, juiced to the Chiefs. Excuse me, that's just the live line. So it should be 3.5. I got to refresh now. We're looking at second half lines, 3.5, still juicy. Total 24, but juiced to the under. I know everyone does love a Kansas City second half under. Yeah, Rice. The ball was behind him. The one that was almost picked off. He needs to do a better job of at least knocking that down. Yeah, Atlanta team total under. Don't hate that. That's not a bad suggestion. I do wonder what the game plan is going to look like. I wouldn't want to put Kirk in long developing plays anymore. Drew still is in Greece. He'll be back tomorrow. Long developing plays with 2 starting offensive linemen against this pass rush seems like a bad idea. Probably more Bijan. You have a lead. You've been able to run the ball with some success. I know we've struggled a little here and there, but Bijan, he's had a couple nice runs. He got knocked down in the backfield one time. It's only 9 for 23. Algier obviously had the one run. I don't expect to see him a bunch. I guess I'd work on that. Bust out some of the good run plays. So the Atlanta team total would be, let's look at alt lines here. Atlanta team total is 23.5 for the total, which means, you're looking at 9.5. That seems low. Oh, I don't know if I can. I was hoping for like 11.5. That seems like not quite enough. They already have 14. I feel like that's probably pretty tight. The Chiefs is 26.5 juice to the over. Chiefs do get the ball to start the game in the second half. I don't know what to do here. Mahomes is the new Josh Allen, says Pat. Oh, this is actually Patrick Mahomes saying this. My Vikings, yes. Good job. We'll get to some of that. Under 24 is really expensive, though. Kind of looking at this. It is. Some places are down to 23.5. Oh, Kelsey might be officially dust. Oh, I don't know what to do here. Chiefs, you're paying an awful lot to bet the Chiefs here. Minus 220 on the money line. I took the Falcons last time out in the second half money line. Chiefs are continuing to take money. 23.5. Oh, so they have 23 points. Their team total is 26.5, or excuse me, 13. So there's a 13.5 juice to the over. They do get the ball to start. Oh, I'm just taking the Chiefs. I'm going to see if I can find a 4. I don't want to pay this much for a 3.5. Minus 119 here, minus 125 everywhere. I want the thing where I can expand it and bet something else. I want Chiefs minus 4. I want to pay for this shit. Falcons team total under is 9.5. That's scary. You know, that's just, especially the way the ball's been bouncing off some of these receivers' hands. One bad field position spot here, and that's very dicey. Although we sat and we sweated a Patriots under 7.5 last time out. Easy money. Although a bunch of people did not even think about what if they go for 2. That would have been, Jesus, that would have been stressful. So, yeah, I'm one of the only people, I guess, who didn't just sit and bet some Chiefs live. For the full game, they're 205. 220 for the second half. All right, Chiefs minus 3.5. I don't have Caesars. I can't get on Caesars from here. We'll take some. If you can get a 4, I would just lay the 4. That's cheaper. 3.5, so we're laying 2.5 for the full game. I can respect that after what the line was to start here. The Chiefs do look a little miserable, but outside of the drop pass, Mahomes' first pass didn't look good. It looked short. He had a guy wide open. That's the thing that makes me hopeful for this second half Chiefs game. He's got guys kind of wide open. If he makes a little bit better of a pass to Rice, he's streaking and he's around the end scoring. You know, that first pass, he had a guy open in the seam in between the zone, 15, 18 yards down the field. He's got guys open. He has the receivers for this. So, yeah, it's the lazy Chiefs. And if they bite me here, I guess so be it. So I'm going to go a little bit of 3.5 and then a tiny bit, maybe the team total too. Bet the over. Just 14-10 second half. 14-10 second half makes a lot of people happy on the over as well, which would be something. I don't know where the consensus was in the total. I didn't really hear a lot of people talking about the total. Yeah, the roughing the passer calls were both kind of such is life. I guess that's the stuff. I don't have the data to back this up. It feels like there were more penalties today than I've ever seen across the Sunday slate in my life. There were so many unaccepted ones too, because it's like, oh, these two offset. It felt like there were 20 times I saw offsetting penalties, which aren't going to go into the books too. You know, the decline penalties, the offsetting stuff. I don't think that goes into the official count anyway. Oh, look at this. It moved on me before I could bet it. Minus 4 even. I still wouldn't mind if London gets some yards, but Chiefs minus 4. I'm going to make a banner for it. KC minus 4 evens. I don't know. Anything else in the early games? Yeah, there was a point earlier. It felt like if your team got into the red zone, there was a penalty. There was always a penalty, especially late. It was a fun slate, though. It was a fun slate. I didn't have anything going on the Cowboys game, so that was interesting. That it got interesting late. The Chargers really did me dirty, but Bosa got hurt, Herbert got hurt, Slater got hurt, Alt got hurt. What are you gonna do? Drew's back tomorrow. Yes, Pat Mahomes. He'll be refreshed. I'm not so sure how much football he'll have watched. I'm gonna have to do the same thing I did last week when I did the solo pod and have a copious amount of notes rather than just my own research to kind of fill everyone in. I did do a pretty good job of catching up on injuries after this afternoon, which, Jesus, there was a bunch of these. Yeah, interesting. I haven't got to the Bucs game yet in my review. That was super disappointing to see them play like that after we saw good ball at the end of last year, saw good ball to start this year. I'm gonna have to dig in a little there. Rams Niners was fun. I joked. I wrote it in the newsletter. I said I got the bad number. I didn't get a good number because they got 6.5. I was not referring to getting 7.5. I meant I didn't take the money line. Apparently, cannot believe they covered, which I want. I did. I believe they'd cover before the game. I can't believe they covered. I can't believe they won that game. This is a big takeaway from Sunday. We have Minnesota defense is kind of legit. Like that is 2 weeks in a row you played what is, I mean, honestly, that Dayball is a good offensive coordinator. They don't have a lot of skill position players there. They don't have a lot of talent there. Neighbors is coming along nicely. He's quickly the best player on that team like that. It's amazing. But Dayball, Shanahan, and then into Slowick. And I mean, just, the play calling that he's had to go up against. This was supposed to be the hard part of the schedule. The big part was like, oh no, what if Minnesota loses to the Giants? Because it's kind of coin flip-ish. We don't know how the quarterback situation is going to pan out. Like this could start really bad. This could be 0-4 for the Vikings. It does feel like Jordan Love was very close, like to coming back this week. So in my numbers early on, when I'm making any sort of early week, guesstimates or anything, deciding what I'm going to do with that game, I'm assuming like 80-20 Love plays. I know they bullshit us a lot and, he was close and then, whatever happens and he doesn't. Although Malik Willis, I don't know. I've seen some people tweet out about, this is a LaFleur masterclass. This is LaFleur just beating a team without a quarterback. Willis looked really good on the ground. Willis looked really good, kind of running the offense. It didn't seem like it was a super simplified offense. I did get it's called the Bleacher Nation Fantasy app now. It has been renamed, but still the same notifications as the old Fantasy Life app that we bought. Drew Dahlman and Caleb McGarry have been downgraded to out. So both of those linemen are out for the second half. So it'll be Ryan Newsel at center and Storm Norton continuing at right guard. Yeah, I kind of thought Malik Willis looked good. And the fun part about this is I feel like they just have him on a 1-year deal with the trade. I'm not super sure what it looks like. Did they end up with his rookie deal when they made the move? Because if he's not under contract at the end of the season, he might be kind of playing himself into, and maybe we should kick the tires on this guy, at least put him in a preseason quarterback competition with some of these teams that need a quarterback. Arthur Blank did induct himself. That was weird. What else we got? Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks. I'm struggling to give the Seahawks too much credit because of who they played. And I know Nick's looked a lot better today, but he certainly looked lost to start the season. Just who the Seahawks have played offensively, it's hard to give them a lot of love. So I'm not saying they're completely overrated and this is completely fugazi, but it is hard to say like, oh, McDonald just fixed everything. The Cowboys, I don't know, man. They got it together late, but some of that was low percentage win probability, and I think the Ravens If you remember, kind of bad with the lead, so I'm not super sure how much credit we can give them for that as well. The Seahawks haven't played a competent quarterback. That's kind of where I'm at, Tom. I don't remember Skyler being that awful in the pocket. Something I said is the way Skyler held himself when he got the ball after a snap, he didn't look like a quarterback. He looked uncomfortable. He looked like a wide receiver standing out near the edge of the field after he got a backwards pass and he's supposed to do a wide receiver option throw. Just when he'd get pressure in his face, he'd just sit there and take it like he had some sort of weird blindness where he couldn't see somebody up close. It was crazy how hard he got hit and just didn't make an attempt to slide to either side or even protect himself. I don't know if he's not able to look at two things at once like some of these good quarterbacks do, where they're able to watch downfield. And it's like you guys, you're looking at your phone, but you're looking at the road too. You can do both. Don't do that. I'm kidding. I know you do, though. Don't lie to yourself. But that's what you got to do. You got to be looking at the protection at the same time as you're looking down the field. And it's just like he couldn't. It's crazy, all the skill position players that they have on that team. And McDaniel couldn't scheme something to get that to work. So that looked really, really rough at times. And then, the Hail Mary stuff was the funniest part, maybe the funniest part of the whole day, where he couldn't do it. They got the untimed down, and then he just got blown up from behind again. I still don't know if the Panthers can win the division. You don't get to play the Raiders every week. Kelsey woke up. Yeah, I haven't seen anyone I trust say anything good about AR-15. Kevin Cole, which his stuff is, you'd have to pay a little bit for that, for his unexpected points, but man, it's pretty cheap for pretty good EPA breakdown right after the games happen. He had a good line. Basically, it's, if Richardson isn't hitting something super deep, or if he isn't getting a ton of EPA on the ground, he's useless. There was a good tweet. I was saving this for the recap show, but there was a good tweet about Richardson. He said he can make a throw that 99% of the league cannot make, but then there's a bunch of throws he can't make that 99% of the league can and is supposed to. He has no touch short. He has a lot of accuracy problems. I mean, kind of what we saw coming out of college. I know there was the draft nicks were arguing about how much that matters and how much playing in an NFL scheme will change that. But man, he looks lost if he's not hitting somebody deep. I felt lucky to have won that game that was one of my look ahead numbers. Look ahead numbers from last week: Colts, Chargers, Bills, 1-1 on those. So that experiment is 50-50. I also have the Buffalo Bills tomorrow, 3.5. Tomorrow leans, I like the Bills. And it's hard not to not like the Cincinnati Bengals over. I know it's high, but man, it's a bad defense. And Higgins is healthy. I think that matters so much to get both of their receivers out there. 46.5. It came down off the open. Cincinnati 7.5. I know a lot of people are going to want to tease that. Cincinnati's a tough one to tease with because the guys they had to sign off the street to play defensive line or to back up at defensive line. I mean, it's like, hey, here's a guy that was drafted 6 years ago that's been on 9 teams and was looking for a job in the middle of September. It's probably not going to improve what your defensive line is right now against, a Washington team. So Jaden Daniels is sort of impressive, especially as a runner. He might not survive the season, but I don't need him to survive the season if I'm taking the 7.5 or if I'm taking the over tomorrow. Oh, Wanya Morris reported, is George Karlaftis in? He was on that second down. The teaser leg of the century did not. That's what hurt the most. The Chargers losing after all those injuries is one thing. Not covering the teaser leg felt so bad. I am not happy with this red zone play right now. Linebacker Leo Chenal. Chiefs inside the 5 are bad. I mean, the argument between the draft guys and the college scout guys, and there's a lot of videos and clips of Carson Steele. Oh, he's not a fullback. He's not a fullback. Look at this. Look at this. He's still pretty big. Like, he might not be a fullback, but I would find some ways to get him the ball and pump it in. God, a 21-yard field goal feels so bad. Every team is bad within the 5. Lions last week. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, we need to stop here. That hurts. That the way they move down the field and to only get 3. Andy Reid adjustments are good. Andy Reid in-game decisions sometimes bother me. I didn't love this. I didn't love this at all. Dave Conley says Judon is hurt. I don't have the sound on. I'll take your word for it. It matters. He was a nice addition to this. I'm taking the overtime banner down. It's on my head. Any value on 12-1 on Eberflus, first coach fired? I'd have to look at that. I kind of want to dig a little deeper into awards. Cowboys losing. I know they don't tend to fire coaches in season, but that's one of those things where, how many coaches has it been? Like 3 or 4? And the same thing with Chicago. Chicago's never fired a coach midseason. Well, adapt or die. Some of these teams have never done some things. We didn't used to have coaches that would be fired in their first season. And that just wasn't a thing. You got time. You got years to figure things out unless you're an abject disaster or problematic. Like, teams are quick to move on if they realize, hey, this is sunk cost. We're kicking this down the road. Urban Meyer's gone. I felt like it happened twice with the Jaguars. So, yeah, and that is the thing. It is old owners. You have old owners in Dallas. You have McCaskey's and Hallis Hall there. It's tough. So I tend to believe they won't. Same thing with McCarthy. I think they give him some more time. It's only been 3 games. I'm not sure who I would fire. If I had to fire one coach right now, God, it would probably be Sirianni, just because that poor city. I know he won today, but man, that city hates him. Like, you might get a parade as an owner if you fired him. I don't know what to do with the Saints. Especially that was a defense we saw got kind of racked up at times. I want to watch that film more than anything. I didn't really pay attention. I didn't have action on that game. I didn't pay as much attention. So that's one of the recap ones I'm going to probably watch the whole thing of. Don't know. I want to see what happened, if it was the Eagles making adjustments or if it was just bad luck, bad bounces, should have had more yardage. I mean, what did we have for Saints yardage in that game? Eagles, 15-12, box score, 15-12. Was that scoregami? So only 219 total yards for the Saints after the Eagles' defense has struggled a couple weeks in a row. Good job by them on the road. Oh, man. Saints only ran 55 total plays, 1 sack, 3 penalties, 1 turnover. It wasn't that bad. It's just 4 yards for play. 4 yards for play to 6.9 for the Eagles. Eagles were 6 for 14 on 3rd down, 1 for 3 on 4th. Both teams were just kind of shitty. I think both teams had like 2 good drives. Yeah, you're not going to win if you're 1 for 3 on 4th down and you have 2 turnovers to add into that. 1 for 3 in the red zone, 7 penalties for 45 yards. Who's this with the ball? It's 1. They all have these single numbers. It drives me up a wall. Is that Mooney? Jacoby Myers. Yeah, he had the octopus today. So, Peterson. That's a sneaky one, too. If they get the absolute shit kicked out of them tomorrow, I do think he has one more card to play. He has a draw for in getting rid of Preston Taylor. Because I think that's the biggest complaint you're hearing from a lot of Jags fans, some of the film guys. Like, the play calling doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't seem to play into Trevor's strengths at times. And I mean, Trevor's kind of all over the place. At first, that week 1 film was pretty bad. He missed a lot of balls. He missed a lot of short stuff. He doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now. Peterson's a good one though, but yeah, you always have that lifeline of getting rid of a coordinator. Like, oh, what if we got rid of Press Taylor and I called the plays? So I mean, the main takeaway is there's one good team in the league. It's the Vikings. It's kind of sad. 31 other losers. Look at that. Pretty good protection. Oh, Kirk tried to take off. That was cute. Oh, somebody got him by the ankle. He tried. He did try. I don't know about Antonio Pierce, if that was a good move or a bad move. It's one of those where it's kind of you got to feel out the rest of the team. Like if you think other people on the team were mad about, I'm assuming he was referring to Devontae Adams as far as people making a business decision, like he said, people not playing. If it felt like the rest of the team is mad about that and is turning against Devontae, then yeah, that's a great move to say that in the presser like that. If the team is turning a little more against you, or even if it's 50-50 and there's a bunch of guys that have started to get rid of, get sick of your shtick, saying that in the press conference is probably a really bad thing, and it's going to continue to lose you guys in the locker room. But it's still crazy that they beat the Ravens. And yeah, he does have the card. He can play AOC. I don't think it's a drop off, but it's not a massive drop off where it doesn't feel, super silly. I haven't looked at that market at all. I do like that the Panthers fans are having fun today. Good for them. Every team should have at least one fun game. It is. I wrote that on a tweet. It does have to feel so good, not to just win. Like the Panthers eking one out would have been fun, but just truck fucking someone. God, that had to feel so good for fans, the teams. They did lose Thielen. I'll go over injuries a little more tomorrow, but the big ones were Thielen's a big part of it. The Browns had Wills, Hudson, and Teller banged up up front, as well as backup tackle. Yeah, tackle Hudson the third. Myles Garrett, that's bad. Laporta for the Lions, bad. Bosa, Herbert, Slater, Alt for the Chargers, bad. Dolphins had Kendall Fuller in the concussion protocol. Teron Armstead in the concussion. Skylar Thompson, I don't know if it fucking matters. Giants, sneaky, had a bunch of injuries, as well as the Eagles, Lane Johnson, Devonta Smith with concussions, Covey with the shoulder, and Mekhi Becton was dinged up. I think it was just a finger. He should be all right. One I'm watching, too, is Alex Highsmith. He matters a bunch for the Steelers because they had a corner out as well. Corey Trice left with a hamstring injury. Trent Williams, hopefully he's okay. That matters a bunch for the Niners. It's funny, he went out for one play and immediately there's a big hit. McVay, Coach of the Year buzz. Who do you think should open favorite there, right? I mean, isn't favorites... Shouldn't it just be Kevin O'Connell, right? They're 3-0, and a lot of it was, overperformance. I think their win total was 7 or 8. So going 3-0 as a team that's expected to finish third or fourth in the division, that's got to be pretty big buzz for him, especially beating 2 division champs from last year already. 2 teams that they were dogs to. It's got to be O'Connell right now. LaFleur never seems to get love. I have no idea why. I think he's a better coach. I think what he's doing with Malik Willis is more amazing than what we're doing with Darnold. Darnold is not like some cast off that it's like, oh, we're starting, Davis Mills at this point. I mean, Darnold was a high pick and he's only 27. Darnold is like Joe Burrow's age. He's not old at all. It's wild how many miles he probably still has on the tires. Speaking of that, it's getting to be winter up here. I noticed a little bit of wear on mine. I'm gonna have to go drop a freaking $1,000 in tires next week. I don't give those away anymore. Storm Norton, yes, protecting Kirk Cousins. Chief Moneyline Live, he says. I haven't looked too much at the pricing for next week. I did have them up. I did update. The problem with that is, man, there's a lot of games that. I mean, how many games? 6. You have 2 games tomorrow and 1 today. So there's 6 teams that we really aren't getting updated lines on yet because they haven't played their week 3 game. So 6 out of the 16 games don't even have lines, which is annoying. I think the most galling one is the Niners 10.5 against the Pats. I know it's at home, but I guess those injuries for New England probably matter a little more than we thought. We saw that against the Jets. Jets kind of picked them apart, but it seems like a ton of points for a team that might just be able to run the ball, and the Niners are banged up. What was the other one I looked at? Philly-Tampa Bay one. That's a lot of adjustment for 2 teams that have kind of been bouncing back and forth. I want to look at that one a little. I make that less. I make that closer to a pick. I'm not so sure Philly showed me a lot today. I know we need to downgrade Tampa a little bit. It's not like Philly was impressive in that win. Nuts on with Seattle, Detroit. That's a good line. Big regret today was not playing Detroit -3. Had some live action, but that should have been a banger. I don't know what I was doing. I would have sweated the shit out of that, but it would have killed me. Get the 10 ply. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to look for tires tomorrow. All right. Vita Vea, no idea. That's going to be a big one, too. If they held him out, that's not a good sign, obviously, because that MCL's bad enough where he's not able to push off or pivot on that leg. It might be a multi-week thing. He matters a bunch. All right, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, rate, review, overtime. We'll put Mahomes on the board one more time here. Look at him go. Bryce Young to the Alouettes. Aces. The Aces are losing. I might have to go put some live money on my my links to win it all. I think there's 4 teams that can legitimately win the WNBA. You guys just keep sucking me in with comments. I gotta go. I gotta go home. So I'll peace out. See you tomorrow. We'll do a live stream review with Drew, and we'll do a halftime show for at least one of the games. I don't know. Maybe we'll double up. I don't care. Hit the thumbs up. See you tomorrow.